Hi everyone, welcome back to this series of Agile PMP Questions, ideal for your PMP exam or your Agile Certified Practitioner exam, and a really great way to test your Agile knowledge in your team. We've got 10 questions for you today. It's going to be a whole bunch of fun. Let's get into the questions. Your Agile project team has been delivering value to an organization in increments for some time. Executives within the organization would like to scale the approach across more teams to gain benefit from its way of work. All right, this is a scaling Agile question. This is going to be really good. Which of the below is not a scaling framework from Agile that you might use? Okay, let's have a look. Scrum of Scrums, it definitely is. SAFe, or Scaled Agile Framework, definitely is. Kanban Iteration Retrospective, that's not a real scaling methodology, although it sounds pretty cool. But that's definitely not it. Large scale Scrum or less is also a scaling methodology. So the incorrect one for this first question is answer C. Answer C, Scrum of Scrums, Scaled Agile Framework, and Large Scale Scrum are all scaling Agile frameworks. All right, that was a nice and easy one to kick us off. Let's see what we've got next. The organization you're working on has decided to move towards an Agile way of work and project lifecycle approach. Which of the below is how you would describe an Agile project lifecycle? Oh, this is great. And you'll see this on the PMP exam about life cycles or project life cycles as well. So what is an Agile way of work? It's both iterative and incremental to refine work items and deliver frequently. Well, we can pretty much look at that one and say that's actually the one. But let's look at the other ones and see what we've got. Both iterative and predictive. So iterative is where we are iterating, but we still deliver in one big bang. And predictive is just where we deliver in one big bang, but plan everything up front. So it's not that one. Both fast and furious, designed to deliver the most bang for your buck. I think someone could create a framework about that, but that's not the one for our case. We'll save that for the movies. Both predictive and incremental. Predictive, anytime it's predictive, it's probably not going to be an Agile way of work because it's all planned up front. And Agile, we want to adjust. We want to take an incremental approach where we're delivering in increments, but also iterating and improving over time. So let's lock in answer A. Answer A, the Agile project lifecycle is a combination of iterative, where we gather feedback, and incremental, where we deliver smaller usable features of value to our customer. All right, great question. All right, these are going pretty well. There are 4 main project lifecycle approaches to managing a project with variations in between. What is one of the characteristics of an iterative lifecycle approach? And we were just talking about this, so this is really good timing. It does not allow feedback. No, that's not it. It allows feedback for unfinished work to improve and modify that work. That's probably the one. That's what we were just talking about, where we take that feedback, but we still deliver in one piece of value at the end. C, it focuses on delivery, not feedback. No, and it plans the project up front and delivers in one go. Not necessarily, it does deliver in one go, but we do gather that feedback to adjust over time. So let's go with answer B. Answer B. An iterative project lifecycle iterates towards success. It uses prototypes and unreleased versions of the product to gather feedback and improve it before releasing it in one go. All right, that was really good too. Let's see what we've got next. You're working through a sprint planning meeting with your team. The team have sized up the cards and prioritized the backlog. What will you do next to determine how much work can be done during this iteration? Oh, this is good. Count up the user stories that the product owner wants completed by the end of the iteration. But we still need to figure out how much the team actually can complete. So that's what we want to be completed, and that's the product owner's decision, of course. But let's see how much we can complete. Check the team's velocity. And so the team's velocity is the average of what we've completed over previous sprints. So that gives us an idea of how much we can complete going forward. So against the number of points for the story cards that we want to complete. That's probably going to be the one. Let's see the others. Ask the Scrum Master to allocate work to each team member in the fairest manner possible. That's not really related to what we're trying to do here. And look at the other teams and what they did in the last iteration to give us an idea for our team. That's not good either, because we just want to look at our team and figure out how much we can complete. Every team will be different, and every team might even measure their approaches slightly differently as well, and that's totally fine, as long as it's agreed within the team. So for our purposes, let's go with answer B. Answer B. Velocity is the amount of work measured by points, hours, cards, t-shirt sizes, or anything that you wish, as long as it's agreed with the team. Most often by points though. A team completes on average in a given sprint. By checking those total points and checking them against the possible team velocity, then we'll figure out how much we can complete in the upcoming sprint. That's great. All right, good job guys. Let's see what we've got next. You're an Agile project manager working on the next feature for your product. The product owner has asked you for an estimate on how long the remainder of the features may take to complete. You look to the team's velocity chart. Why is this? The team's average velocity across previous iterations is the best predictor of future iterations. And yes, that's true. So that's going to give us a really good idea of how long the remainder of the features will take to complete. Let's see what else we've got. The velocity ensures the team will never work harder than they have to. Not necessarily true, because once we finish things, we can pull extra cards into our sprint if we need to, and onto our Kanban board so we can track them. The Scrum Master has the final say over team velocity to ensure the work gets done. Also not true, because it's just a measurement of how much we're actually doing, and basically we don't want to overload our team, so we use that measurement so that we don't go too much over what we've done previously. So we're not overloading our team. We've got a consistent flow of work, and it's manageable flow of work. Lastly, the velocity chart shows how quickly new items are picked up by the team. That's also not correct. It just measures how much of the work is flowing through the team and how quickly, usually by a measure of story points on the cards getting completed. So let's go with answer A. The average velocity, or work completed during each iteration, is the best predictor of future velocity, because previous iterations typically include all of those tasks and pitfalls that we might come across in the future as well. All right, that was great. Next question. You are the Agile lead or Scrum Master for your Agile team and planning the next iteration. It's about to begin. So what will we do before planning the next iteration? Let's have a look. Break down the features into user stories. That's a possibility. So before we're planning for the next iteration, write the story card acceptance criteria within the team. That's also a possibility. Choose which stories the team will work on in the iteration, probably, maybe, and work with the product owner to prioritize the highest value ones to work on. Okay, this is probably the most promising here. And because we're the Agile lead or we're the Scrum Master, so we may not necessarily break those features down into stories. That's done by the development team and our business analysts, and the product owner will work with them to do that. We won't write the story card acceptance criteria, because that's done by the business analysts with help from the developers and testers and the product owner again. So ultimately for us, we want to figure out, we want to work with the product owner to prioritize the highest value ones and put them into the backlog, so that we can then make sure that they have points on them and figure out how much we can complete in that iteration. But prioritizing it according to what the product owner wants is the most important thing for us at this stage. So let's go with answer D. During iteration planning, the team should have already broken down features into story cards, so that's good. Now is the time to reprioritize those cards to be done based on the business value and the team velocity, so what can be completed. So that's also good to know. All right, how did you guys go? Let's get on to the next question. Only a few to go. You're in the middle of a sprint with your Agile team and moving the project forward with daily stand-up meetings. What is a stand-up meeting? Oh, this is going to be a nice and easy one. So it's just a definition of the stand-up meeting. Let's see what we've got. A project kickoff meeting? No, it's not that. Project progress meeting? Oh, sort of. Where you see how proposed schedule stands up against the actual schedule? No, that's more for your project management plan or your predictive way of work, where you've got actual schedules that you're needing to work towards. Okay, let's see what else we've got. A very quick meeting, time boxed at 15 minutes or less. That's definitely it. Where the teams say what they have accomplished and report any blockers. Yes, that's our stand-up meeting. And lastly, a team training meeting? No, that's not it either. So as you know, the stand-up usually held once a day, and 15 minutes, people report what they've done and what they're planning to do, but also mostly any blockers. Is anything blocking us from doing the work? Can we swarm around that and fix that as quickly as possible? So answer C is our one. And there it is, and that's where we do it around the Kanban board as well, and the team goes through everything that they've accomplished, but most importantly, any blockers. All right, that was a really good question. Let's see what else we've got. You are the Agile project manager working on a software project, and the development team have identified a major risk for the delivery of a certain feature. That feature is not scheduled until very late in the project. What will you do next? Oh, this is good. Okay, wait until later in the project, as the problem may be fixed by other features going in. No, and in general, just so that you know, with risk in an Agile project, typically we want to turn it into a story card, just a risk card usually, but we want to fix and complete that risk or work on that risk way up front. So we want to get rid of all of those risks way up front early in the project, because the longer they go on, the higher risk they do become, and the more expensive they are to fix. So that's just a general guideline for us there. Let's see what else we've got. Ask the developers to find a way to proceed without that feature. No, because we still may need that feature, so we still have to do that. Plan a spike around the risk to identify a solution, then prioritize that feature earlier in development. That sounds possible. And the spike part is also really good. So doing a bit of research around that, what do we need to fix that risk? So that's quite good. I like answer C. And answer D, remove all other story cards from the current sprint so the team can swarm around the issue and fix it. We can't do that either, because we still have to keep delivering value if possible. So that's why we set it aside, have a spike to do the research around it, and then prioritize the solution as early as we possibly can. So that leads us to answer C. Answer C. Agile risks are prioritized early in development to reduce and remove those risks. Discovery work is typically done with a spike card, so that's what we know, but it does not need to be done by the whole team, so we can still keep delivering value. So allocate a certain amount of time to it, then prioritize it early so it's taken care of and we know what we're dealing with. All right, that was a really, really good question. I really liked that one. Let's see what else we've got. I think there's only 2 to go, guys, so you've done a really good job. Your Agile project team is using Scrum to manage the work and deliverables for your project. Which of the below is not one of the Scrum events or artifacts? Okay, let's see. The product backlog, yes, that definitely is. And that's where the product owner manages a prioritized list of planned product items which evolves from sprint to sprint, because the priority might change just depending on what we know. The sprint backlog, that's what goes into the actual sprint. So we've got our product backlog, and some of those items might go into our iteration or our sprint, just depending on how much we can complete. Increments or features, which are all the product backlog items that can be completed during a sprint and a step towards the main vision. Potentially, yes. That's definitely a maybe, but I don't know if it's a Scrum in particular. So even though it's definitely Agile, and we'll usually demonstrate one of those increments or features at the end of a sprint review. So yes, I mean, that's a definite possible one as well. And the team area, which is where the co-located team sits for fast collaboration. Look, that's also a good one. So these are all really good. So because we could choose any of these from an Agile perspective, let's go back and look at the question. We're asking for Scrum events or artifacts. So product backlog is an artifact, sprint backlog is an artifact, increments or features are artifacts that we're, or items that we're delivering, so completed during a sprint, and the sprint is our event as well. Team area is basically just a team area, even though yes, it's definitely a part of Agile. That's probably the one that doesn't fit the most. So this is quite a tricky one, but let's go with answer D. All right. Scrum works with a product or feature backlog, a sprint backlog, and delivers in increments or features. Agile teams are typically recommended to work in a co-located space, but this is not one of the events or artifacts from Scrum itself. Okay, that's good to know. And also that was quite a bit, that was a little bit tricky. So we had to go back to the question and just, because they all fit an Agile methodology, so we had to look at the question itself and delve into that a little bit more. All right, last question, guys. You've done great. Your Agile team has been working with Scrum for some time now and have become quite familiar with its events and ceremonies. You're asked to explain this to other stakeholders within the organization. What is not an example of a Scrum or event or Scrum event or ceremony? Okay, all right. And right away we can see this, this is really just an idea of what happens in Scrum. So we know Scrum has sprint planning, where we're planning the sprints and we select the highest priority items to go into the sprint. We know we have the daily Scrum or the stand-up, where the team meets to talk about their project tasks. We know we have the sprint review, which is where we demonstrate a feature or a working piece of software that was delivered during the sprint. And so the change control board is the only one that is not the same. That's where all proposed changes are reviewed before adding to the backlog. That's more of a predictive or a waterfall approach. So let's go with answer D as the incorrect method here. The change control board is a typical part of a predictive or waterfall project lifecycle, not an Agile or Scrum way of work. And there we go. You've done great. So we've finished it. You've done 10 questions and you're preparing in a great way for your PMP or your Agile Certified Practitioner exam. I completely believe in you and I know you can pass the exam. Keep going and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.